My name is Ava Carter. I'm 29 years old. 4 years, I was known as the family babysitter. Not daughter, not sister, not equal, just the one who stayed behind, picked up the slack, and kept everything running. The night everything changed started at the dinner table. My father set his fork down harder than usual, the sound cutting through the quiet chatter. "If you're going to keep living here," he said flatly, "you need to start paying rent." The room went still. My younger sister, Brooke, didn't look up, but I caught the small smirk tugging at her lips as she stared into her drink. My mother kept eating like she hadn't heard a thing, like this moment had been expected, like it had been planned. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I didn't remind them of the years I had spent raising Brooke's kids while she lived her life freely. Of the nights I stayed up with fevers that weren't mine to soothe. Of the birthdays I missed, the opportunities I turned down, the life I put on hold. Instead, I smiled. I stood up quietly, pushed my chair in, and walked to my room. Within minutes, I had a bag packed. No dramatic goodbye, no slammed doors, just silence. And then I left. The road stretched out ahead of me, dark and empty, my headlights cutting through the night. In the rearview mirror, the house grew smaller, until it disappeared completely. Along with it went years of being overlooked, years of being useful but never valued. At a red light, I checked my phone. No calls, no messages, no one asking if I was okay. That silence told me everything I needed to know. I wasn't family to them. I was function. The next morning, I found a tiny apartment. Creaky floors, faded walls, cabinets that didn't quite close. But it was mine. For the first time, I unpacked things that belonged only to me. Every plate I set down, every picture I hung, it all felt like reclaiming pieces of myself. Freedom didn't come with perfection. It came with ownership. The first few nights were the hardest. The quiet felt loud. No children crying down the hall. No one calling my name. No constant list of things that needed fixing. Just me. And at first, that felt unfamiliar. But slowly, the silence softened. It became peace. I started picking up extra shifts at work. I saved money, and one evening, almost without thinking, I pulled out an old set of paints. I hadn't touched them in years. Back then, I used to love painting. Before life got replaced with responsibilities that weren't mine. Soon, my small apartment began filling with color canvases leaning against walls. Brushstrokes layered with emotion I had never been allowed to express. For the first time, my life felt like something I was creating, not surviving. Then the messages started. A text from Brooke. "Where are you? The kids need you. Mom says you're being selfish. Just come back." Selfish. I stared at the word for a long moment. Then I laughed. After everything I had given, everything I had sacrificed, this is what they called me? I replied simply, "I don't live there anymore. You'll have to figure it out." Her response came instantly. "You can't just abandon us. Dad is furious. Mom is crying. You'll regret this." I read it twice. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty. The calls came next. My mother, her voice heavy with emotion. "The kids miss you. Brooke can't handle this alone. You're tearing this family apart." My father, sharper. "You think moving out makes you independent? You'll come crawling back." And Brooke, messages at all hours. "You're cruel. They keep asking for you. You're basically their second mom." That one hit differently, because it was true. I had been, and that was the problem. One night, sitting on the floor of my apartment surrounded by half-finished paintings and empty coffee cups, I realized something. I hadn't abandoned them. I had returned something that never should have belonged to me in the first place. The next morning, I sent one message. You didn't treat me like family. You treated me like free labor. Hire a nanny. Then I put my phone down. And for once, there was nothing they could say back. Word started spreading. A cousin messaged me quietly. Brooke's asking everyone to watch the kids. She's desperate. Another. Your mom's telling people you abandoned them. Let them talk. Their opinions had controlled me for years. Now they meant nothing. A few nights later, my father showed up outside my apartment. When I opened the door, he didn't look concerned. He looked embarrassed. You're making us look bad, he said. People are talking. I leaned against the doorway. Maybe they should. His expression hardened. You had everything. A home, food, family, and you threw it away over rent? I let out a quiet, bitter laugh. It was never about rent, I said. It was about respect. For a moment, he had no reply. Then he turned and left. A week later, Brooke texted again. But this time, there was no attitude, just panic. The babysitter quit. I can't do this. Please come back. I'll pay you. I stared at those words. I'll pay you. After years of being unpaid, unappreciated, invisible, suddenly my time had value. But I didn't respond because I already knew my answer. My mother called again that night. Her voice was softer. Family is family. You don't walk away when things get hard. I closed my eyes. For years, they had used that line to keep me in place, to keep me giving, to keep me quiet. Then maybe we were never family, I said, and I hung up. After that, silence. Not the heavy kind, not the painful kind, just a space. Life slowly rebuilt itself. I worked. I painted. I laughed again. I breathed. And for the first time, it didn't feel like I was living someone else's life. Weeks later, my father texted, "This family doesn't work without you. Come back." I read it once, then replied, "I'm not coming back, because this wasn't rebellion. It wasn't anger. It was freedom." People eventually started noticing the cracks in their world, the chaos, the strain, the absence of the one person who had been holding everything together. Me. One evening, I posted a photo of myself in my apartment, paint on my hands, sunlight pouring in through the window. The caption read, "When you stop being their safety net, you learn how to fly." I never went back. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally cared about myself more. Now, when I wake up, the silence doesn't feel empty. It feels earned. It feels peaceful. It feels like mine. They called me the babysitter, but I became something far greater. I became someone who chose herself. And once you do that, you never give it up again.